Hello everybody, I am Fuzzy Face. Welcome back to another edition of this Motorsport Manager career, back with Project Audi. We have the Singapore Grand Prix coming up, a street track circuit. What is important here? Gearbox, brakes, front wing. Gearbox, brakes, front wing. We're average. Who knows what's going to happen in this race. Last time out, we had an amazing race. I say amazing, we could have had an even better race, but last time out we had Vettel actually won for the second time this season. Sebastian Vettel, it was a little bit lucky because Charles Leclerc, he had a problem with his car. I don't know if it was a front wing, whatever it was. Leclerc had a problem with his car, dropped to the bottom of the grid, did well to battle back into 11th place, but we took advantage of it. Vettel won, Van Dorn as well, we ran a good strategy with him, he was up in second. My fault that he didn't actually finish second. We could have had our second 1-2 of the season, but I forgot to put him in a high mode to try battle Fernando Alonso, who was pushing right behind us. Fernando Alonso then came in anyway for a pit stop, like on the penultimate lap. He came in for a pit stop, so we didn't really have to put Van Dorn in the high mode to try to keep that position. He did lose quite a lot of time there over that last half a lap, quarter of a lap. He sort of ran out of fuel. It did allow Renault to get a decent result for once. Daniel Ricciardo in that Renault, possibly his best result of the season. Is that his first podium? Yes, it is. First podium. Is it the first podium for Renault? Where is Ocon? He's all the way down in 12th. Yeah, I don't think Ocon has got a podium. So Renault, who have had one of the better cars, I think it's still the second best car overall. Yes, it is. The Renault car has been amazingly strong. Renault just not able to put it together this season. Not as much as us, as we stand above them in the constructors standings. We've got 2 wins this season. Renault and Red Bull as well. They haven't managed to win. Mercedes have won twice, 4 points off Ferrari. And as we jump into the update news, there's not a lot of updates going around. It's only 10 days between this Grand Prix and the last one. But as we thought, if you've watched the previous videos, Mercedes haven't been putting any upgrades onto their car, and as I suspected, it was because they have introduced a new engine, their Spec 3 engine of the season. As we can see, the engine puts them fastest on the grid, as in terms of raw power in that power unit. That Mercedes, they were languishing. It was just above the Honda engine. They were all the way down there. Red Bull, Honda, just their power not there this season. I don't think they've put an engine upgrade. I think they've done a Spec 2 engine. I'll just flick through here. No, I can't actually see that they've actually done an engine upgrade. Yes, they did before race 3, and it wasn't a massive upgrade. So Red Bull haven't made any upgrades this time. Maybe they're going for a new engine. Maybe Honda can get back up to speed. But that power unit of Mercedes now really strong. It hasn't filtered down to McLaren, Aston Martin and Williams yet. It should be there for the next race. Hopefully I will put it in for the next race just to keep it fair. It wouldn't filter straight through. Exactly, Mercedes do need to test it this weekend, but all the other Mercedes customer teams should have it for our return to Russia. Yeah, as for us, we didn't get our second, I think this is maybe our third suspension. We haven't got this suspension built. It will take another 15 days. Our power unit now is the third one, best overall. We're 4th overall in the order of things, because Prima do have that Ferrari power unit, getting the most out of it, more than Alfa Romeo getting out of that power unit. And then we're just ahead of Renault. I'm guessing Renault might be focusing on an engine. They haven't made upgrades. But in terms of other upgrades that other teams have made, Williams have got a new front wing. Quite a substantial upgrade for them. Hasn't moved them up that much though, only puts them to 8th overall. Alfa Romeo have got a new suspension. Haas have got a little bit more out of their engine. Their Renault engine, they've made it a little bit more comparable, changed their chassis around, made the engine work a little bit better within their car, and they've also gone with a new front wing as well. So I'm guessing Haas might have improved. No, they're still 11th overall on the grid. Haas struggling this season. Prema, even with that really good engine, are 10th overall on the grid. And meanwhile, it's Alfa Romeo in 6th. We were battling with McLaren for that 5th, 6th spot. We've moved up into the 5th pretty comfortably now with our rear wing. The AI doesn't seem to be developing any rear wings at any point. I don't know what's going on with their rear wing development, but they just don't seem to do it. But as it is, we're going to jump into Singapore here. Get into things. We'll just take 744 as we usually do. Seems to work the best. Vettel, even though the cars are just perfectly equal, Vettel is just a little bit more happy with it. He says he's got a better car, but he doesn't. He hasn't actually got a better car. It's equal across the board. He thinks he's got a better car. It is 52 laps. Tyre wear is high here, so yeah, we've got them right. Mediums, we will have 3 for the race. We might need to go out to 2 mediums with Van Dorn. Vettel might be able to do it on a super soft medium. But we'll get into that once it's race time. We're going to jump into practice now, and we'll be back in a second for qualifying. Hopefully, we can have a nice, decent qualifying, get both cars up into the top 10. That would be good to see if we can go ahead and do that. But as it is, we'll just jump straight in. We'll get into it. We'll go through qualifying in just a second. So, practice is over. We seem pretty quick on the super soft. The mediums, though, we seem pretty slow on, so maybe something we're going to think about avoiding during the race. The medium tyres, I don't know whether we're going to avoid them. I don't think there's any rain set here for Singapore, so it should be an okay qualifying session, hopefully. I'm not quite sure of the chances. We're going to do a little bit of an experiment with Van Dorn. We're going to send him a little bit later out onto the track than Vettel this time around. What we're going to do is just going to let all the other cars come out, and then we're going to send Van Dorn out. Is everyone... Wait until everyone's out on track. It might be a while before everyone does that. We've still got Stroll in the pits. Yeah, quite a few cars still in the pits here. And yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna go now with Van Dorn. We should have enough time to get 2 laps in. Might be in a bit of traffic. Vettel is on the pace here, pretty close to the Renault. It's Ocon that's going quickest so far. Is he going to be quickest in the second sector? No, he's not. Someone's gone quicker than him in the first. That is Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes with that new power unit in that car. I'm guessing Mercedes are going to be pretty quick around here, but Hamilton 7/10 off the pace of the Red Bull of Fernando Alonso there as he comes across the line. Verstappen goes a little bit quicker. Norris in the McLaren gets himself up into second as I hit my printer there. Let's just put that away. And don't you dare turn on. Don't turn on. I don't think it's turning on. As it is, what has Van Dorn done? Did we get just totally stuck in traffic then with Van Dorn? That was an atrocious lap then, but he's pretty close to Vettel. We're looking pretty slow around here. And I'm guessing our pace on that medium was more indicative of our pace around this track. It doesn't seem to be all there, although we've got a lot of cars bunched around, not far from each other. There's like 3/10 between everyone here. So it might be pretty interesting to see what happens. McLaren, even though they've not made any upgrades to their car, they're quick around Singapore. Just quick. We're going to get Van Dorn out onto track since he needs a little bit of help whilst the track's clear. The track grip's not going to go up that much, even though it says it's going to shoot up. It never does shoot up that much, but we'll get Van Dorn out, see what he can do here. Whereas Vettel is going to go out a little bit later in the session. We need both cars to improve here. I don't want to be this far down the grid. We should be a lot better here, and obviously until we get our engine done, if these other cars... Are we a little bit late? I don't think we are. Got time to get around. Once those other Mercedes customer teams get that upgraded engine for the next race, we might be finding it a little bit difficult to get to the point where we've been recently. As Van Dorn does improve, gets himself up into 12th. Improved by about half a second there, did Van Dorn, I think. Hopefully we can stick at that. Hopefully Vettel is going to go quicker here. Is he in clear air? He is, but he's going slower. It doesn't look like Vettel's going to improve here, although he goes quicker in the second sector. Alonso is still on pole position. Only Ricciardo can go quicker. But Ricciardo jumps up into 5th. Gets himself into 5th. Vettel, meanwhile, comes across the line, gets himself up into 8th. I thought we weren't really going to improve on that lap, but we do get up into 8th place, which is a bonus here. Van Dorn has slipped into 15th. Alonso comes away with the pole position here. As usual, just ignore the grid. Ignore the grid. Come on, move on. Try not to look at the grid here. Want to go down it properly. As we usually do. Yep, avoid it as well. Yeah, so let's jump into the race here. What can we get out of this? 8th place. We're going to go super soft, I think. Let's just have a quick look at what we can do with strategy. It is 52 laps. Can we go? I sort of want to avoid the medium altogether. You can get 32 to 54. That would be cutting it, but we might go super soft, and then depending what we get out of it, switch back to a soft and then back up, switch back to a super soft or a soft at that point. So we're going to start on the supers. I don't think that's going to be an option for Van Dorn because he doesn't get as much out of the tyres as we see. We might even have to start on the mediums with Van Dorn, see how far we can get him into the race. We know it's pretty slow, that medium tyre there. 21.42. Even that's going to be cutting it for Van Dorn. We're just going to have to see what we can get out of a medium tyre with Van Dorn. Oh, and we've got control of Sebastian Vettel back here. We have control. He has had the... and we'll go medium. He has had the Gone Rogue trait on, which meant we couldn't control what he was doing with the car through the race, but we do have it back now. Whether that's a bonus or not, I don't know. It's whatever your opinion on my race management is. But here is the grid for the 2021 Singapore Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso in the Red Bull gets pole position. Charles Leclerc on the front of the grid in that Ferrari. Lando Norris, amazing, up into third place in that McLaren. Newgarden, Haas, got a little bit more out of that Renault engine, that new front wing. Seems to be working for them, whatever. Fourth place, Danny Rick. Must still have a dodgy neck, he does, in that Renault. Fifth place. Max is 6th in the Mercedes. 7th for Lewis Hamilton, not getting much out of that new engine. 8th for us, Sebastian Vettel in the Audi. Sainz in the McLaren is 9th, and then rounding out the top 10 is Esteban Ocon in that Renault. Albon is 11th in the Red Bull. Schumacher 12th, decent performance from him. 12th in the Prima. Latifi is 13th. Williams getting back up there, and his teammate alongside him, Kevin Magnussen. Van Dorn is 15th, a little disappointing. Nico Hulkenberg really disappointing in that Ferrari. Is 16th for him. Perez is 17th in the Haas, 18th for Stroll in the Aston Martin. Valtteri Bottas in the Alfa is 19th, followed by George Russell in the Aston Martin. Then we've got Giovinazzi and Pierre Gasly in the Alfa and the AlphaTauri, respectively. And then bringing up the rear of the grid, we've got Vips in the AlphaTauri, followed by Robert Schwartzman in the Prema. And we're going to follow Vettel here. We'll angle this way so we can see down the front of the grid into that first corner. It's a short run into the first corner. Vettel is slow off the grid. Leclerc's held on to second place. Alonso's held on to first place. Vettel is falling down here. We're going to go into attack and overtake here. In the early going, we'll turn things up at this point. We've fallen way down the grid here. Vettel is into 13th place now. He's got Williams pressurising him in. That's Albon. He's got past. He got down the middle then between Albon and Verstappen. Is he going to make it stick? Van Dorn. No, that's not Van Dorn. That's a Prema. That is a Prema there. That is Mick Schumacher. Well, that was our car, but Vettel battles his way back up into 8th place. Alonso has got off the line brilliantly. He might get Red Bull's first win of the season. Obviously, that is all down to Red Bull's strategy here. And Vettel is currently battling away with Carlos Sainz. He does get it. Have we got the run on Joseph Newgarden here? We should be able to get the run on that Renault-powered Haas, and we do. We're up into 6th place now. We've got a Renault of Daniel Ricciardo in front of us. We know Renault not the best with their strategy for whatever reason. Should we battle away with him, these tyres are getting pretty hot here. We might think about turning down. What the other car's doing around us. Sainz is still pushing, but he's a little bit too far back. The weather is really hot here, and Stoffel Van Dorn is still down in 16th place. There's not much we can do for him at the moment. It might be a outside the points finish for Stoffel Van Dorn unless we can get something going later on in the race. We just need to get these tyres cooled down, because even running in medium, as Vettel locks up. Great, Vettel, thanks. Sainz is running on the soft tyres, running a totally different strategy to the others, and Hulkenberg looks like he's got a penalty. I don't know who he came together with. He's the car in front. It is Nicholas Latifi in front in that Williams, and it looks like Hulkenberg has come off the worst of it. Looks like he might have the penalty as well. Might have got away with it. Schwartzman, it looks like, does have a penalty coming up. Could be a drive-through there for Robert Schwartzman, although it's not a big deal to him. He's already running in last place on the grid as Vettel has now come away from that battle with Sainz. He's getting away. We're on a quicker tyre. We should be able to get away from him. As we see Vettel locking up, pushing a lot. We've gone through that super soft pretty rapidly, and that is not something we really wanted to see there. We might have to take we can do 44, can't we? We're going to have to take 2 softs going on later into the race. Van Dorn is currently complaining that he can't get past Kevin Magnussen here. We don't really want to push him too much, but he is on the medium. You can always use 2 sets of mediums during the race. 2 sets of mediums see you through to the end of the race. 26.52. It would only just get you there, but obviously we're going through this first set of mediums pretty quickly here, pushing the weather really hot. Tyre wear rates really high here. I'm guessing we're going to see some of the AI cars do a 3-stop strategy. As we start running hot now, we're going to have to cool down. I think we'll just cool down for a little bit. I was going to put Stoffel in auto drive there for a little bit so we can concentrate on Vettel, but we'll just leave him running as it is. We need to cool those tyres down, getting back into optimal temperature range. Whereas Vettel, we've got 2 seconds either side. Stroll is into the pits, Schwartzman into the pits. It looks like they're the 2 cars that hit each other. Stroll and Schwartzman must have had a coming together at some point. Is Hulkenberg still running with a damaged car? He is. Mustn't be too much damage, but that does need to be fixed when he pits. So it looks like a Ferrari is going to be out of the points here. Verstappen running outside the points in the Mercedes, but Hamilton is up there. So it is still Ferrari winning the points battle this race. Would be extending their points by another 3 points. Would put them 7 points ahead. Is it? Where are they? Yep, 7 points ahead. 286 to 279. So it just comes down to those, and I'm guessing Verstappen. Oh, we've got a yellow flag in Sector 3. Has someone run off? That is Kevin Magnussen. He is out of this Grand Prix. Kevin Magnussen out, but no safety car needed here. Would have been good to have a safety car try, maybe switch things up a little bit. We're still cooling down with Stoffel Van Dorn. Looks like he's going to be totally out of the points. And I'm guessing some of these have started pushing on the tires because it's sort of closed up now. We're 58%. If we got a Norris, what's he got? 60%. So I'm guessing they were pushing a little bit, whereas we're just cooling down, sort of recovering at the moment. We'll go back into high mode for a little bit here. And let's just speed things up because we're just waiting for the first round of pit stops, which are going to be in a few laps' time. Maybe 4 or 5 laps. We might start thinking about coming in, although we're doing quite a good job of looking after these tyres. We're almost into the optimal range now. We're doing a 131 flat almost. Norris is the car that we want to be targeting. I think we could get Norris. I think we could get Ricciardo because, as we've seen from Renault, I'm guessing they're going to go for another super soft. They seem to be ultra aggressive, the Renault team. Never works out for them. So we might be able to get Ricciardo because I'm guessing the Renault might be on a 3-stop strategy. You never know though. They might surprise us. They might be competent for a change. Yeah, so 42% on these tyres now. If we just have a quick look down the grid as things are progressing here, Alonso way out in front. Looks like Red Bull are going to get their first win of the season. Obviously, a lot of that comes down to what happens with the strategy. Leclerc's getting away from Lewis here, and Lewis has got a big gap over Lando. Norris has gone for his tyres, 37%. He's overtaken us now with these tyres. I'm guessing it's because we're just running conserve mode for a bit. We're just going to switch up now. Whilst they're doing that, Sainz is behind us. We're getting away from him a little bit. We've still got that 2.5 second gap either side of us. And then we've got Albon in the points. Newgarden in the Haas, still running the points. It would be an amazing race for Haas if they get up into the points. And then Ocon is behind him, not able to get past the Renault-powered Haas with his own Renault Works car. It's not been the best season for Esteban Ocon this season so far. He currently finds himself down in 12th place in the constructors' standings. 37 points. Van Dorn's ahead of him in that Audi car. Yeah, it might be a bit hard for Renault to keep these drivers next season. Ricciardo, as we've gone over, Ricciardo is thinking about moving. Storyline-wise, everything's storyline-wise, but Ricciardo is thinking about moving. Oh, Ricciardo's coming in. Ricciardo's gone through those tyres pretty quickly, so have we got another lap here? Could we go for it? Could we go for it? Try the overcut. I'm guessing Ricciardo's going to come out on another pair of super softs. Yeah, we know. Yeah, super softs. What has Lando come out on? No, Lando hasn't pitted. I thought Lando might have been pitting. I'm guessing he's going to go this lap as well. We're going for a rather aggressive overcut. We're going to go for the soft tyre this time around. We do have a little bit of risk on the pit stop. It's not a massive risk. 1.7 seconds to a 2.1. We're going for the overcut here. I would go for this. What would that increase us? A 1.7 to a 1.4. No, we're going to take it. Go balanced. I don't want to be ultra aggressive here. We just stuck on a static camera. Look at this, we've got like a TV camera. It's pretty cool. How do we get out of that? Go to Van Dorn. Right, so Vettel has pushed this super soft. It drops off the cliff at 20%. Just around there. I think we're going to get into the pits. Is Ricciardo in traffic here? He's stuck behind Mick Schumacher in a Prema on a medium tyre. We're going to have a quick pit stop. Can we jump? No. Norris has had a nice quick pit stop as well. We're coming out. There goes Ricciardo, but he's got 2 corners to go. Have we jumped Ricciardo here? Yes, we have. We've jumped Danny Rick in the pits. So we're just going to look after this tyre now because we do want to maybe get back onto another soft. Norris has got out of the pits on the back of Ocon and Verstappen as well, so he's in a little bit of traffic. It should allow us to close up that gap to him. And we've just got Van Dorn running. He's running pretty cool at the moment, so we've got some room to push with him. And there we go. There we go. Sorry, Van Dorn, we're ignoring you again as we try to close up this gap. Although, it's just an experiment race for Van Dorn. See what happens if we go from... Look how quick that is rising. Pushing. Look how quick we're rising. Done a 1:31.2 this lap. Can we get more out of that on the next lap with Van Dorn? He's going quicker this lap as well. Not his quickest first sector of the Grand Prix. Look, it's already back into optimum range. He does a 1:30.8. Almost the same as Vettel, who's not pushing. So you can see how slow this medium is. A 1:30.8, and it's all out. It's doing about the same as Vettel is not pushing. As Norris has managed to get past Verstappen on track, and Verstappen is going to come into the pits, so we're not going to waste anything trying to get past him, although there's not much of that. There's just another 2 corners to go before Verstappen comes in. Danny Rick is behind us. I'm guessing Renault are doing a 3-stop. I doubt Renault would go for a medium. It's not something we usually see them do, go for the hardest compound tyre. We're running a little hot here as well, still with Vettel. We just want to make sure we look after this. We want to stay as close to Norris as we can. What is Norris doing at the moment? He's in backup mode, so whilst we're in conserve mode, we're still doing more than he is out on track. And we're going to get into high mode. With Stoffel Van Dorn, these mediums can go down to 5%. We do want to run them as long as we can. So Van Dorn, where is he at the moment? He's not doing too badly. I mean, we've got these other cars behind that will jump him. If we can get him somewhere up towards this position by the end of the race, if we can get him up to the 14th, maybe that would be an achievement, considering his god-awful start. But Vettel, we want to keep him ahead of Ricciardo. We want to keep him somewhere near Norris. It's just about cooling these tyres down at the moment. What are we comparatively here? We're running about 3/10 off at the moment. Oh, this McLaren is looking quick around this track. Are we going to be able to catch it? And Ricciardo's coming at us now. We're spending our time defending, which is making us lose. Oh, I thought Ricciardo was going to get us there. Anyway, we're losing ground to Norris in front of us because we're battling away with Daniel Ricciardo here. Should we let... No, we shouldn't really let Ricciardo pass, but if we let Ricciardo pass, he is on a quicker tyre. He could put Norris under some pressure. As it is, he's putting us under pressure, making us lose time at the moment. We're doing a 1:31.3. What the? A 1:29.9? Did he push that last lap? What was that lap? To a 1:32. 1:33. We just have a bad lap defending, I think, wasn't it? We just lost like a second over the course of a lap. Let's just cool off. We'll just cool it out. We want to catch that McLaren, but it's going to be a little bit hard to try to catch him if he's putting in that sort of lap time. Even as it was, he's still quicker than us. Yeah, we're just losing time. Let's just cool down. Let's get back in. Let's go high. Let's go high. See what we can do this lap. First sector is an improvement. Can we sort of match that time? Look at that. 8/10 quicker over this lap. 1.2 seconds quicker. We do a 1:29.7, which is an improvement, but we can't just keep pushing like this unless we go for a hard tyre at the end. Should we? If we get onto that hardest tyre compound, onto that medium, should we try close up with Norris, go for an undercut? Where would we come out of the pits? If we pitted now, we would be here, 14th. And we're going to have to start thinking about Stoffel. Let's get him in this lap. The R20 has done pretty well, so maybe we'll keep him out for another lap. We might be able to... No, because that would break my own game rules, wouldn't it? Using the same tyre compound twice breaks my own game rules, that going from a medium to a medium. So, it looks like we've done good enough to be able to do a super soft. Should we save the super soft until the track grip's fully in? Go for that at the end. There's not much performance increase over the supers, over the softs on this track. Yeah, I think we'll go soft for now. See how this soft tyre is working. It seems to be working alright on track for the other cars that are on the softs at the moment. So Van Dorn is going to push into the pits here. And we're going to switch him back down into high mode so he comes back out of the pits on high mode. He's in. Nice. Quick pit stop gets back out into 14th place. So that is pretty good. Pretty good running there from Van Dorn. He's managed to get himself out in front of Nico Hulkenberg, who's gone through this pit stop as well. This stint. He's gone through and shredded that soft tyre. But Van Dorn, as we knew, has run a hell of a long way on that medium tyre. Vettel is currently 5th. He's got away from Daniel Ricciardo. I mean, we're just pushing out here, 129.9. We're not really gathering any speed, so we're going to try cool off this tyre briefly, try recover a little bit of fuel as well. I'm guessing that is going to let Norris with 2.9. Yeah, it's just going to let Norris shoot off, isn't it, if we try... Look at that. Is Norris pushing this lap? No, not really pushing. So should we just be ultra aggressive to try and get Norris? I mean, there's not much we can do with the tyres at the moment because the weather is so hot. The tyre wear rate is so high around here. Should we just try stay cool and maybe go for the overcut like we did on Daniel Ricciardo? That seemed to work a lot better, staying out on track. But Norris, it's not the longest of pit lanes here. So what would it say we came out if we pitted now? It says we'd get out in 7th place. So maybe it's only 10 seconds since we cut out like 2 slow corners. So that means Norris would come out in that same place as well, maybe even in front of Carlos Sainz. So maybe the overcut wouldn't work this time because there's not much traffic that Norris is going to be coming out into. We possibly wouldn't be coming out into much traffic. So we're going to get going now. We're going to go for it and get into the pits and do our second pit stop from around this time. This soft tyre though has gone off pretty quickly. We've done 16 laps. We might even think about going for the medium tyre to get through to the end of the race. Van Dorn is starting to run a little hot on this soft tyre. We're just going to keep him going as it is at the moment. And Vettel, there we go, we're picking up time now. We did a 1:29.2. Still not the greatest pickup of time that we wanted. 6 seconds behind the McLaren of Norris now. Yep, these are overheated. We're going to go around another time. We've got 20 laps remaining. These haven't quite done 20 laps, so we're going to switch to the medium, which we know can definitely do that. Might give us a little bit of room to push. Norris might go on to softs. He might need to pit before the end of the race, but I don't think he would do. Meanwhile, we're just going to keep going with Van Dorn here. We're not really going to cool him down. Oh, we say that. We need to, don't we? We need to. Got some fuel recovery to do with Sebastian Vettel at some point as well. So where in? Did Norris pit on the same lap? Yes, he did, and we've come out behind Albon, who should be pitting pretty soon. So we're going to have to push to try and get past Albon here, because he's going to be costing us time, but Albon is coming into the pits this time around. If we just keep pushing for a little bit. Norris is 5 seconds. I don't really want to push, because we just need to make sure we hold on to this 5th place, don't we? Norris has gone on to a soft, though. I'm guessing he's going to pull away from us now, so whilst we're on the medium, we don't have much chance of catching him up. So we just got to just keep running as we are. Hold on to this 5th place. As it is, Alonso needs to pit again. He's ahead of Leclerc by about 7 seconds. Hamilton needs to pit again. The front 3 are miles away from Norris in 4th place. Verstappen needs to pit again. He's running 6th at the moment. Should get back out into maybe 11th place. Verstappen's still outside the points here. Although Schumacher has to pit as well. What is Ricciardo doing? Ricciardo's already done his 2nd stop and gone for another soft tyre. Another super soft. As we see from Renault. Ultra aggressive. They haven't done that same strategy with Ocon. I mean, they're just costing Daniel Ricciardo points here. I don't get why Renault keep doing that. I just don't get their strategy at all. They're going to pit again. I mean, obviously this track does work a little bit better for the ultra aggressive strategy since the time you're in the pits isn't that long. But as we see, it's still not working out for Danny Rick here. He's going to come out of the pits here, 15th. And Verstappen's in this time. Is he going to get out? Where's he going to get out? There goes Van Dorn. Don't think Van Dorn's going to get out in front of him because we've got that slow last corner as well. As we see, Verstappen is back out into 11th place. We still do have to pit again with Van Dorn as well. 70 would put him up in 15th, which is pretty good going. Newgarden does have to pit again, so we might get our what we hoped. the 14th place that we were hoping for. Alonso is into the pits. Has managed to do his second pit stop and get out into first place ahead of Lewis, who has to pit. Leclerc, though, is a little bit closer at the moment. They're both on super soft. Should see them through to the end of the race. I think Leclerc maybe pitted a lap earlier than he did. Has Leclerc been on this? Yes, Leclerc's been on that tyre, which is why he managed to close that gap up. But the 7-second gap, it was never going to be undercut. And we're just running cool at the moment on this medium tyre. We're going to just recover the fuel with Sebastian Vettel. We haven't really got much chance of catching that McLaren at the moment. McLaren will be getting their upgraded Mercedes engine for the next race as well. It looks like a track that suits McLaren. They've come back stronger than they have recently. We're under pressure from Esteban Ocon at the moment, who's done his second pit stop. Should we try and get off this tyre now onto a super soft? Let's just go for it. Let's just go for it with Van Dorn. We can push. He's done a pretty solid job at looking after these tyres so far. 26 off that medium. It was a really good job at getting through that. What has everyone else done on the mediums? Stroll did 5 laps, but then again he had a problem with his car. Bottas 23, 24, Schumacher 24. So that 26 for Stoffel Van Dorn was quite an achievement. Obviously we did run cool for a lot of the time. But as we go now, Van Dorn is doing a 129.7, which is pretty good for him on a pretty degraded pair of soft tyres. We're going to be able to push a pair of super softs as well. Super softs I think is 14. It's jumped from 14 to 16 for Stoffel. I'm guessing that's upgraded his. Don't know if it's upgraded his smoothness rating during the race, because he does have the racer stat. Whatever it is, he's currently running 15th place. It would be if he pitted. Should come out about 63 seconds behind Alonso. Currently battling away with Giovinazzi, who does have to pit. Giovinazzi's coming in. Should we go this lap and try jump Giovinazzi in the pits? Because we know... Oh, front wing's going. Let's go balance. We might be able to jump Giovinazzi if we can get into the pits and out. If we get in around the same time. Oh, Prema holding us up here. Let's see where we come out. Can we get the jump here? Where are we going? We're quite far down the pit lane. Come on, come on, come on. And we do. We've got past the Prema and the Alpha. And we'll push out of the pits. We do need to recover fuel at some point though. But Van Dorn has moved up through the pits there. pretty proud of the pit team there. So Van Dorn is now running 11th, obviously. I don't think anyone else has to pit. We've got no chance of catching Daniel Ricciardo. But that is a pretty solid job from Van Dorn. Look at him just going quick here. Is he going to set the quickest lap of the race? Is it? Could it? Yes, he does. A 127, almost flat. Just 9 thousandths of a second off. A 127. I think that's the first time. If we keep this up, we might just keep the fastest lap of the race. If we do it, I think that would be our first fastest lap. Obviously, look at that. We're a second off now because these tyres overheated. So let's cool down. We might have another run at it with Van Dorn since there's nothing else to do with Van Dorn. We'll let him cool down, recover a bit of fuel, and then we'll have another run. See what we can do. Just experiment with Van Dorn at the moment. Vettel, almost 10 seconds behind Lando Norris now. 5 seconds back to Norris's teammate Sainz behind us. Not much we can do with him at the moment. We can go high mode. We can do it. Should we do? We'll just cool off a little bit. We'll give Vettel a chance to push for a lap as well. See what sort of lap time we can get. This lap he is doing a 129.6. Van Dorn was on a 129.4 off his last lap. It's not cooling down too much, so we're going to see what we can get off this lap. And then when we come around off this final corner, we're going to go attack and overtake. And let's just see what we can get. So we did a 129.7 with Vettel. Can he go quicker this lap? 8 tenths off over the first sector. 1.5 seconds quicker on this medium tyre. He does a 127.8. Not too bad. We might as well just keep him going again for another lap. Van Dorn, meanwhile, has cooled down, so he's going to get his lap in this time. He did a 129.1 over the last lap. 128.8. Obviously a little quicker over the last sector because he was pushing around that last corner. And he does a 127. Almost the fastest lap. And I think that's it. We'll just cool off with Van Dorn. We're getting pretty close though doing this, aren't we? We're getting close to Danny Rick. I mean, I don't really want these tyres to get to shred, but we are getting close. Whereas Vettel is still pushing here. He did a 127.8. He's a little bit quicker this time, a 127.8 again. And there we'll go. We're cooling down with Vettel. We're in 5th place. There's not much we can do. We're not going to get close to Lando. But we are getting close to Daniel Ricciardo. With about 2 laps to go here. Tyre temperatures are high. Daniel Ricciardo, what is he on? He's on a lot. He's super softs. Or a lot. Has he gone 4 times on super softs? He has. The only car to do it, Renault, with their lead car, with Ricciardo, they just always seem to do that. I don't know why. Take a pit stop off, 10 seconds ahead. We'll be up here. Probably even further. But we've got the run, we've got the run. We've got the run on Daniel Ricciardo. Have his tyres gone? Is he gone? He's almost gone through. No, that's Albon. Where is Ricciardo? Ricciardo. No, he's not gone through those tyres, which is quicker. Pushing here. We managed to get up into 10th place. I didn't even think we were doing that. That little experiment that we did seem to have worked out. We're just pushing rapidly. And we're closing in on Albon as well, who's on a used pair here as we go through this final lap. We might as well get pushing with Vettel. No, we don't want him crashing. I don't think we're going to get close to Alexander Albon here. We can push in overtake mode through the final part of this track. There's 1 or 2 corners to go. Can Van Dorn do it here? No, he doesn't. We come across the line behind Van Dorn. Behind Van Dorn, behind Alexander Albon. We switch back out of this camera. So Vettel gets 5th place. Van Dorn gets himself up into 10th place. Amazing for him to come through the field and get a 10th place finish. Alonso wins the race. Leclerc was 2nd. Hamilton 3rd in the Mercedes. Norris in the McLaren 4th. We came 5th with Sebastian Vettel. Then Sainz. McLaren much improved for this race. 6th. Verstappen is 7th. Ocon 8th. That was Albon 9th. And then we were 10th with Stoffel Van Dorn. There shouldn't be any risky parts unless I've missed removing it from one of the AI teams. I do remove it. I don't want anyone getting disqualified for risky parts. It doesn't make much sense in this game. We had Schwartzman and Hulkenberg with drive-through penalties. Hulkenberg not performing to the same standard as his teammate. 81 points at 205 from Charles Leclerc. Lewis and Max are still 2nd and 3rd overall. Vettel is 4th. Not much change here in the drivers other than Norris and Sainz moving up. Van Dorn has dropped into 11th place. Constructor standings, no changes overall in the order of things, but Mercedes, look at that 1 point now as we move into the business end of the season. It's like, what is it? 5 races to go. It's 1 point at the top. Red Bull don't have much of a chance at getting back into the fight, but you never know. If Alonso keeps winning races, if Albon can get a little bit more out of the car, they can find themselves up there. I don't think we're in with a chance of getting anywhere near. Because Van Dorn is about to lose his refocused stat boost, as it is. Both guys are morale dropping. He finished 10th, Stoffel. Why? We came 5th overall. 1.4 million coming out of the bank this time. I think that's because we've made a few more pit crew upgrades. Yeah, so if you see, look, we've got pretty good pit crew over. So how long has Stoffel got left with this refocus boost? 1 week. So you're going to lose it before Russia. So we're going to lose a little bit of performance from Stoffel. Pascal has been burgled. That's why he's got all minuses across the board. Recently burgled. And I don't think we're going to lose. It's got this renewed passion, which we're going to see a little bit of a drop in consistency and adaptability. A lot of these are like more than 20 because of the... So we've got 11 weeks left on that, which takes us well past, well, almost to the end of the season. Might lose that before we get to Doha. But yeah, let's just see what Dario Franchitti has to say. A simple question. Let's just say, Seb, what affects Stoffel? And yeah, so that is it for this episode. Another good race, a 5th and a 10th. Amazing. Vettel continues to be 4th overall. We continue to be 4th overall in the constructors standings. If we can take that through to the end of the season, that would be a result. My main aim was 6th this season. A lot of that is down to Renault just not performing though as well. What can we do? But anyway, that is it. We'll see you for our 2nd race of the season in Russia It is a different track layout to the one before, so it is a little bit different, but hopefully what did... Actually, just let's check what we did in Russia. I always click standings instead of calendar. We actually did pretty well. Van Dorn did well in Russia. A 6th and a 9th, so if we've now improved our car, we might be in for a decent race. But obviously, instead of it being this long sort of straight, like half the track is just full speed on this one, it does now have a big chunk of it taken out and added in around there. So it is going to be a little bit different. The engine is still useful rear wing. Yeah, rear wing crucial, so it might be a good race for us, but we'll see what happens next time out when we go back to Russia. But until then, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.